Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my favorite drugstore foundations. I'm out of breath. Almost in my third trimester pregnancy. Gotta get it together. Okay, what's on my lips is the Bonnabelle Lip Lights in Caramel Latte, and then under that I have the Bite Beauty lipstick in the shade Latte. I did not pick like my top 3, my top 7. It was just, I literally went through Ulta's website, their foundations that were under $15, and any of the foundations that I have tried that I love made it to this list. I have very dry skin, very dry. I am very fair, super fair. If you do not have very dry skin, this video is not useful for you. If you have very fair skin, obviously this video is a little more useful for you because I can tell you about shades. If you don't have fair skin though, but you just have really dry skin, these are foundations I recommend that you try out. So the first one is the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth. That foundation is $7.99, which is a great price. They have 16 colors, so for the drugstore, that's a pretty good range of colors. And I am in the shade 110, which is a little bit too dark for me in like when I'm my palest. Even when I'm my darkest, it's still a little hard for me to get away with, but it obviously matches better in the summer. And that I believe is their lightest shade. Most of these foundations, I will be the lightest shade. The thing I love about that foundation is it really just looks like skin. It's not so dewy that it never sets or that like your face looks like a grease ball. But if you've got really dry skin, it's definitely dewy enough that it doesn't look cakey. I mean, that's going to be the theme with a lot of these, is they're not too drying for my dry skin. This particular foundation is a lighter coverage. Typically with dewy foundations, that's what you're looking at, is a lighter coverage. I wouldn't even say it's a full medium coverage, but it's definitely a light to medium coverage. You can definitely tell that you have foundation on, but not like you have a mask of foundation on, just that you can just tell. But you can still see things peeking through. It's not going to cover blemishes. It's not going to cover freckles. It's not going to cover redness, but it will even things out and provide some coverage. The next one is the Revlon Colorstay for normal to dry skin. There are 2 different types. It is $12.99, so it's one of the more expensive foundations. It does come with a pump, which is really nice, and it comes in a range of 13 different colors. I'm in the shade 110, which is their lightest shade, and that shade matches me. It's what I have on right now. So it's a shade that matches me really, really well in the winter. And it's a foundation that I will actually mix with my darker foundations, like in the summers. I would say it's definitely a medium coverage. It's what I have on. I did 1 pump, used a beauty blender, or a beauty sponge. So it's not like fully opaque as it would be like if you used your fingers or a brush. Again, it dries down nicely, but not to the point where you look cakey. It's almost more like a semi-matte, demi-matte. So it's not matte, it's a natural finish. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a natural finish, I feel like. And like now, I mean, you can't feel it on your skin. Of all the foundations that I'm going to mention today, that one is my hands down absolute favorite, because even though the shade range is smaller, they actually have a shade that matches me. And they're the only ones that have one that matches me when I'm my very palest. The next one is the NYX Mineral Stick Foundation. It is $9.99. It comes in 15 colors, and I am in the shade 02. I probably could go with 01. It's probably just pinkier. The 02 is yellow. I thought I was liking the yellow because it kind of covered up my redness more. But I just finished that foundation and picked up the Revlon one. And as soon as I put on the Revlon one, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. The thing I like about the NYX stick foundation is it's a stick, So it's really great for traveling. With the right primer underneath it, it actually can be really dewy to the point where even I feel like it needs to be set. But if you don't have a hydrating primer underneath it, it's not super dry. It's definitely not the most hydrating of all the ones that I'm mentioning, but it didn't ever look cakey on me unless I applied way too much of it. That is probably one downside to it, is that you do have to kind of apply a lot. It seems like your face kind of needs to be covered for it to maintain coverage, if that makes sense. Which is fine, like you still won't go through it that quickly. I've had mine for a little over a year and a half and I just finished it. And I wasn't using it exclusively, but I did use it a lot. I definitely used it like the last 4 or 5 months exclusively. It will last you quite a while still, even though you do have to use a lot all at once. If I were to travel, I would actually probably go pick up either the NYX foundation or the next one I'm going to tell you about, which is the Covergirl Olay Simply Ageless foundation. So there's a liquid version of this foundation and then there's a cream that comes like in a pot. I love that foundation. Oh, let's see. It is the most expensive. It's $13.99. I think probably the reason for that price is the fact that it was manufactured with Olay, which is a skincare company. And skincare just kind of tends to be expensive. I can't say that I ever noticed like major skin benefits when I use that foundation, but it's still a really good one. It has 8 colors and I am in the shade 205. And the thing I love most about that foundation, it's all the things that I've talked about with the other foundations. It is it's probably medium coverage, but the color of it is so good. It's like a true beige color. They don't have a ton of shades, but it might be because they're all neutral. Obviously, I only ever look at the lightest shade because that's usually where I fall. But that would be my guess. I bet they're all very neutral. So to me, it looks the most realistic and the most like skin. That foundation is so good. It's another great one for traveling. It comes with its own little sponge, which works really well. I did find that the best way to apply it was with a cosmetic sponge. The NYX Mineral Stick Foundation, I think the best way to apply that is with your hands, actually. That always seemed to give me like the best results. My last foundation is the e.l.f. Cosmetics Beautifully Bare Foundation Serum. This one is way different than the others I've been talking about. It is $8, which I feel like is up in price since I bought it last. It only comes in 3 colors. I am obviously the Fair Light shade. So it is a very liquidy foundation. You pump it on the back of your hand and it's gonna drip down your hand pretty much immediately. The Maybelline and the Revlon, they're liquid, but they're a thicker liquid. The thing I love about that, it is the perfect summer foundation if you are the kind of person that you don't like to wear a lot on your face during the summer. I live in a really hot, humid climate and I just can't be bothered with foundation in this summer, and that's where that one comes into play because it provides enough coverage that it just kind of evens out your skin tone. So it doesn't cover anything. It definitely doesn't look like you're wearing any foundation. It just looks like you have an even skin tone. And in the summer months, I actually really love that. Those are my favorite drugstore foundations. All of these foundations last really well. I honestly would probably have all of them on hand at all times if that was realistic, but that's obviously not realistic. But they're just really great foundations that I think if you have really dry skin, they're worth a shot. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye guys.